So I recently finally went out and bought a copy of Kirby Star Allies on the Switch. I've been following a lot of the reviews of the game ever since it released, up until when the last wave of the free update content dropped. Now, at first I wasn't going to buy this game. A lot of the reviews that I saw were fairly negative, and even though I'm a big Kirby game fan, my initial plan was not to buy it. But once I saw all the extra content that had come for free, even though it was pretty controversial, convinced me to just commit to a $40 copy that I found online. I thought that was a pretty good deal. And so I just got it, started playing it a little bit, and I have to say it is super fun. It's a very fun game, but that's about all that I can say about it. So leading up to me buying this game recently, I had been replaying Kirby and the Amazing Mirror on the Game Boy Advance, taking some notes, thinking about possibly doing a retrospective on that game in the future, mostly because that's my favorite Kirby game of all time, personally. And going from that into playing Kirby Star Allies was more than a little jarring, and it really made me think about where Star Allies is in comparison to the three games that came before it. And for those who don't know, the three games that came before Star Allies, Return to Dreamland on the Wii, and Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot on the 3DS, they all followed basically the exact same formula, with one unique kind of gimmick per game. And for the time, that worked really well. All those games I thought were really fun, and the fact that the quote-unquote gimmick for Planet Robobot, the third in that line, was so genius that it kind of saved that game from feeling like just another rehash in the series. However, despite the fact that Planet Robobot did bring enough to the table, in my opinion, that it was worth the investment as a game, that was the place for me where there was a line drawn that something new needed to happen. It needed some sort of new direction, maybe a new art style, a new sort of story beat, something that would take it in a different direction than the last three games had gone. And instead, we got basically just another game in the same exact formula with another gimmick in these friend abilities, and I honestly don't find that any more fun than going all the way back to Return to Dreamland when we had those super abilities. I feel like it's just on the same level as that. Now, I know this might sound a little controversial and a lot of people might give issue with this, but I honestly feel like at this point, after Star Allies, the Kirby series is in the same place that the Mario series was a few years ago in the wake of all the new Super Mario Bros. Games. It just feels like they're doing the same thing over and over again, without any large injection of creativity that these series need every few years. I think one of the things that killed me the most in my early hours with Kirby Star Allies was just the dang opening cutscene. I mean, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Just look at this. Look at the art style. Look at the creativity. Why didn't they make the whole game look like that? I mean, it would have given the game an incredibly unique charm. It would have made it feel independent and a little more creative, even if the gameplay remained totally the same and wasn't innovative in its own right. Just that art style really would have set it apart. Also, as a quick aside, I feel like this game just has too many remixes, and this is a problem that I've heard some other people bring up in the recent years of Kirby games, and I get it. I know that these old jingles are really nostalgic, and for fans like myself, it really brings us back to our childhoods and stuff like that. But I'm just starting to get sick of hearing Green Greens and King Dedede's theme over and over and over again. You know, Kirby games have always had such stellar soundtracks that I feel like we need more new music to balance out the overabundance of remixes. Okay, so those small gripes aside, I want to work toward my real point in this video by comparing Star Allies to an old classic in the Kirby series, and my personal favorite Kirby game, as I mentioned earlier, which is Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Now, this game has a lot of uniqueness that really just sets it apart from every game in the Kirby series, especially those that had come before it. First of all, it doesn't take place in Dreamland, it doesn't take place on Planet Popstar, and it doesn't take place in space, which are kind of the three general locales that all Kirby games seem to take place in. It takes place in this mirror world, kind of different realm. Second of all, there's no King Dedede in this game. He doesn't act as a villain or an anti-hero or a friend or a playable character or anything. Not that King Dedede is a bad character, but it seems like he serves the same role over and over and over again in the past 6 or 7 Kirby games. So it's refreshing to see other characters take the spotlight. The big one in this game is that there's no set linear progression of levels or worlds. It's just an open interconnecting map that you go through and search for the end bosses to unlock the final boss, as well as secrets hidden everywhere that are actually hidden. So what this game ends up being is really like an expanded version of the Great Cave Offensive mode from Kirby Superstar, and it works out really, really well. It doesn't really have any story explanation as to why there are treasure chests hidden everywhere and why you should want to look for them and uncover their secrets. But in all honesty, it doesn't really need that, because the gameplay really backs it up with a satisfying loop of finding hidden treasure chests and discovering alternate color costumes, health power-ups, maps to better understand the world around you, pieces that you can listen to in the sound test menu. It's really a satisfying loop. The game is full of treasure chests everywhere that are hidden behind either secret paths or behind barriers that you need certain abilities to get through. And the reason why I think this is actually fun in Kirby and the Amazing Mirror is it doesn't straight up tell you what ability you need to get there and then hand it to you on a silver platter. Looking at you, Star Allies. Now, I don't want to harp on this too much because I see this all over kids' games today and Nintendo games, especially the ones that are rated E and kind of aimed at a younger demographic. You see this oversimplification, and I get it. You know, a game like Kirby, a game like Pokemon, even a game like a lot of Mario games are really made for kids and have them in mind. And I understand that you want to simplify that, but even for a kid, it's not fun to just go through the motions. You need to be able to figure things out on your own and use your brain a little bit, even if it's in a relaxed way. I mean, look at right now, one of the biggest games that's appealing to kids all over the country, all over the world even, is Fortnite. And have you seen how complicated that game is? It's like 3 games that came before it all combined into one, and kids love it. Kids play it and they understand it. I think if they can understand how to play a game like that, they could figure out how to master Kirby's incredibly simplistic gameplay without being told on a signpost which ability to bring where, and then basically just have to hit the attack button and get a reward. So I may be rambling a little bit and getting off track slightly here and there, but my point is this, that the Kirby series needs a shakeup. I would be so happy. I would love nothing more than to see another Kirby game on the Switch that shakes things up, takes Kirby somewhere new, just like Breath of the Wild and Odyssey did for Zelda and Mario respectively. I think Kirby and the Amazing Mirror is a great example of an innovative Kirby game because of its shifted focus on branching paths and exploration, bringing something a little different to the table. The next Kirby game, in my opinion, just needs something to set it apart, and there are tons of possibilities, so many things you could follow. An open focus on exploration, again, they could go back to that. They could bring in some kind of unlockable upgrade system. That's something that they haven't really touched on before. You could add a story that's actually a little bit different than what we've seen in basically every single game in the series so far. There's so many different paths you could take this down, and I think that something like that is what would really draw fans like myself back into the series that we fell in love with as kids, and get new fans more invested into a series that seems to have stagnated over the past few years. Well, at the end of the day, I could be totally right about all this, I could be totally wrong, I might be totally crazy. You just never know what Nintendo's going to do next. They are absolutely the kings of left field. That's going to do it for this video today, but let me know in the comments what's your favorite Kirby game, and what do you think Nintendo is going to do with this series next? Also, just a quick shout out to the amazingly talented Pixel T, who is the creator of the orchestrated Kirby and the Amazing Mirror soundtrack you have been hearing in the background of this video. The link to that channel will be in the description below. Please go check it out. It is amazing stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.